Hey y'all, it's Kayla with the Celebration Company, and I've got a fun craft for you. I've got these window clings that come from Dollar Tree. They're super cute with all these different sayings on them, and we're going to make 4 signs today for a tiered tray. They're just going to be some really cute little mini signs. And I'm using just some different pieces of wood that I have found or have left over from different pieces from the Dollar Tree. This one right here is just a little plaque from Dollar Tree, and I'm starting by just staining it with some watered down burnt umber. Now I'm just going to take my Mod Podge and put a thin, even coat onto my little plaque, and then I'm going to put the Celebrate Autumn window cling on there, and then I'm just going to go right back over it with more Mod Podge. I've got some white paint, and I'm going to just put a little bit on the end of my brush and just do a little bit of dry brushing over the surface. Then I'm just kind of going back with my sander and my paper towel just to wipe some of it off so you can still see the image. Now I have this cute little stake that I found at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use Season of Change. It's a green little window cling. And I'm mixing up a green that matches the background of the window cling itself. So I'm just using several different shades of green, yellow, blue, and burnt umber. And I'm just painting the very top surface of this little stake in that green. Then I'm going to go in with my stain, and this is just burnt umber that's been watered down, and I'm going to brush it on the rest of the stake. So I did the edges and the actual stake part. Now I'm just going to add some Mod Podge and put my little window cling on there and go right back over it with some more Mod Podge. And a little trick when you're using these window clings, as your Mod Podge is drying, the surface is not tacky, but you can kind of rub over that window cling to remove any bubbles that might be in it. Now I'm just taking a sponge, and I just used a little bit of burnt umber onto that sponge and just did a little dry brushing around the edge and on the surface. Now this piece here that I'm using was a piece that I cut off of another piece. I'm honestly not sure where it came from, but it was cut off of something from Dollar Tree, I do believe. I'm cutting it down to size. It was pretty much the perfect height for this next window cling that I'm going to be using, but it was a little bit too long, so I just used a knife to cut it down. I did not stain the surface or do anything special to the surface. I left it raw. And now I'm just sanding off the edges to remove all of the excess window cling. So I'm going to stain the background and stain the edges. And now I'm just sort of going over it with a little bit of stain. I'm applying some of the burnt umber with my sponge. And then I'm going to take a brush and just add some dry brushed white and some dry brushed burnt umber, just a little of each to create a little bit of a wood look going on. And for the last one, I am just using one of the little plaques. They're square plaque, and they come in a set of 6 or 8 from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to go ahead and stain it, and I'm just doing all the surfaces, the front, the back, the edges, all of it, wiping the excess off, and then going to dry it. Now I'm just applying a coat of Mod Podge, and I'm going to grab my window cling and go ahead and just cover it with Mod Podge as well. Now just to add a little bit of something, I'm just taking my brush and just doing a little dry brush of white, and I'm taking my sponge and kind of going around the edges with white as well. Just a little bit to add some extra texture. Now, of course, I can't leave well enough alone, so I grabbed some raffia and make a little bit of a raffia bow, and I'm going to add that right to the base of the little stake that we made. Just grabbed a little bit of hot glue, Now, on the little square one that we did, I'm going to actually put a little bit of a beaded hanger on there. So I'm just taking a nail and making a hole in the top of it. I'm putting 2 holes in the same position on each side. And now I'm going to take some wire. This wire came from Hobby Lobby in the jewelry section. And I'm just kind of twirling it around the front so that it'll stay. And now I'm going to string on some orange wood beads. And I'm just bringing that wire back through the other side, and again making a little curly cue so that it stays in place. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of a raffia bow right to one side of that and just really dress it up a little bit more because it was kind of lacking. Now, I really don't think the other two need much, but I did decide to put a Jenga block onto the rectangle one so it would stand up on its own. And that's all there is to it. This set of signs turned out so cute and looks adorable in a tiered tray. They all coordinate together so well. There is some glitter on those window clings, but honestly, you can't even tell it once you put them on and just put them all together and add the paint like we did. So I hope you all enjoyed this craft. Be sure to check out more from us, the Celebration Company, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.